So are those airfare war concerns legitimate? And as fuel costs rise, where can we expect to see the airlines make up that lost revenue? Joining us to talk about that is Seth Kaplan. He's an analyst and the managing director of the industry publication Airline Weekly. Seth, nice to have you back again. I thought airlines were doing pretty well, i.e. in terms of profitability, by keeping capacity down and running flights really close to full. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, and that's kind of been the playbook here over the past decade, right, Tyler? Match capacity very precisely with demand. You're right. The thing is, though, that, if all that mattered was, hey, cutting capacity to squeeze up unit revenues, the airlines would shrink forever. Why wouldn't they do that? Well, because when you constrain capacity, you also do something else. You push up unit costs. You become less productive. And what United is basically saying here is that this has all gone too far in their view. Basically, they feel that there's some room actually to grow a little bit more in their case and actually have a more beneficial impact on unit costs, push those down more than the negative impact it's going to have on unit revenues.
So if they do that, will there be as they add capacity, will there be downward pressure on fares? And if so, how much?
Well, they sort of say that there's basically not all growth is created equal. Some of their growth is in markets. Look, they started flights from Houston to Sydney, let's say. That puts a whole lot of additional seat mile capacity, as it's called, into the marketplace. But it's not going to have a broad impact on flight, on core markets. Flight from New York to Chicago isn't impacted in that. Also, they've added a lot in smaller cities, focused actually, adding in places like Wilmington, North Carolina, let's say. Well, that's not going to start a fare war with Spirit because, Spirit's not there. But look, overall, investors aren't wrong that this is supply and demand economics. And the more supply it's in the marketplace, yes, it will put downward pressure on airfares. This at a time, Tyler, when, because you have these rising airfares, airlines are feeling squeezed cost-wise. And what United is basically saying is, yeah, that's the problem. Now there are more cost problems than revenue problems, basically.
Right.
And they're trying to get their hands around that.
All right, Seth, we have to leave it there. Last, thank you very much. Seth Kaplan with Airline Weekly.